Hey everyone, welcome to today's episode of History Scroll Unraveled. Today's topic, we're going to be talking about imperialism, specifically within the military. For today's cast, we have me, Josiah,
Evan,
and Cole.
Our overall message that we're going to be going over in this podcast, we're going to be talking about early advancements within the military and then the effects of those advancements. And then we're also going to be comparing them to current day advancements and the effects of those.
All right, so that's what I wanted to bring up first about. So military arsenal in the 1800s basically consisted of muskets, later on rifled muskets, which had greater range, accuracy, etc. But by the late 1800s, they had this rifle called the trapdoor rifle, which had really advanced and influenced today's guns because it was the first magazine-fed rifle.
So, as you're saying, it's like the first magazine-fed rifle. What did they have before that?
Basically, they had a pouch that had gunpowder, another pouch that had like bullets, but before they had their modern shape, they were like stone spears, really.
Mm-hmm.
So first they put the bullet in, put the gunpowder, ignite it in some sort of way, and then it'd fire.
Did you know that they could have just put any metal in? And like there were documented cases of people putting coins in there and being able to shoot it.
Yeah, I think I saw like pictures of like skeletons and stuff that had like, literal coins infused into their skull.
Also, yeah, you talked about guns. Don't forget the explosives like cannons, landmines. Those basically marked early milestones of explosives used in warfare, which led into way more advancements in the 20th century.
What did they also use? Because then they have stuff like dynamite, grenades at the time.
Yeah, and also in Asian countries they would use paper bombs.
Oh, I didn't know that actually. And since we're talking about those advancements, the main effects of those were the beliefs and policies like the gunboat diplomacy.
And what's the gunboat diplomacy?
The gunboat diplomacy is basically a policy that utilizes the use and or threat of military force. Majority of the times it was used was to get trade from other countries and nations. And to do that, they needed the technology in the first place, which was what we went over, which was from these early advancements in technology. A few examples of these this policy in use was during like the Opium Wars, where the British Navy forced China's Qing dynasty to share trade relations. Another example was during Perry's expedition to Japan, where he forced Japan to basically trade with the U.S. and share their trade relations using U.S. warships and the U.S. military.
That's another thing I wanted to bring up was today's military, really, but and their technology as well. For example, today's military, as we know, has a huge variety of arsenal, like handguns. For example, handguns and rifles, which have been influenced by arsenal from the 1800s. Like through the adoptions of like the rifle barrel, which gives it the more accuracy I was talking about, interchangeable parts, and like a steel barrel, so like it had more durability and it just wouldn't explode on a person shooting.
So what did they do with those like older models? Did they like recycle them?
They kind of like in a way, yes, but they also use them like as for design to look at the flaws, and that's really what helped the advancement of everything else.
Oh, so they used it to improve to the modern day design. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, really.
You say wide variety, but only talked about the firearms. Are you forgetting about the explosions yet again? And now we have all these missiles, nukes, bombs. All of this started because of cannonballs and landmines.
So they were like a building block?
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of like missiles and explosives, wasn't there also like nukes and nuclear weapons during like World War II?
I mean, yeah, like during the late 40s, like not late 40s, like mid 40s, like when the war was coming to an end, W. Oppenheimer over there was creating this bomb, which ended the war, really.
Oh, okay. So wasn't that also part of like the Manhattan Project? Wasn't it called?
Yes, it was called the Manhattan Project. But yet it didn't take place in Manhattan. The bomb was actually test detonation was actually happening in Nevada.
Oh, I didn't know that actually. But I mean, now that we're talking about nukes, nuclear power, that also kind of crosses into the operations and effects of that nuclear power. Like the peacekeeping operations that were created to monitor and keep peace between nations.
Like the United Nations?
Yeah, basically like the United Nations. Exactly like the United Nations, actually. Basically, what peacekeeping operations did is their main goal was to protect civilians, keep them safe, and also ensure that regional nations were partners in like what it's described as like regional partnership. Basically, what their main goal was to first keep civilians safe, but then also ensure that MAD doesn't happen, which is mutual assured destruction, and make sure that people don't use nuclear weapons for bad and cause nations to explode just with no cause. I think that's kind of where we wrap things up, honestly. Do we have any other thoughts that we really have to say?
Not really.
So that's basically all we had to talk about. If you have any other thoughts, comment down below, and see you on the flip side.
Anyways, what I'd like to say is what
Hey, come on.
what